Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about splits and why they are important for your program and why you should have a decent understanding of what a split is in terms of training. So a split is basically how often you decide to work out a specific muscle group. So how often you work out your chest, how often you work out your legs, how often you work out your back kind of thing. And basically a split designates a certain day for a certain muscle group. Now, it doesn't have to be one muscle group. There's multiple splits that we're going to be talking about today that incorporate multiple muscle groups. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of splits, just want to tell you all about what the research shows on how often you should be working out a muscle in order to have hypertrophy effects. And while hypertrophy may not be everybody's goal, which hypertrophy means muscle growth, it still is a byproduct of just about any program that you get into. Whether you're trying to lose fat or whether you're trying to gain muscle, obviously if you're trying to gain muscle, you're going to want hypertrophy, but if you're losing fat, you're probably going to have a byproduct effect of gaining muscle at the same time, which actually helps in losing fat. So since we want to be talking about trying to work a muscle 2 to 3 times a week, there are certain splits in order to make that effect happen. Also, there's no science that shows that doing 3 times a week frequency is better than 2 times a week, and 2 being better than 3. So it's just up in the air. It all depends about your recovery, like the individual and how fast you can recover, how your training program is laid out in order to allow for the optimal results. So let's talk about what I talked about last week, which was training frequency. And I said that you want to be going and working out in general, whether it be at a gym or at home, 2 to 3 times a week. So it goes again with, according to what we were just talking about, with how often you need to work out a muscle group in order for hypertrophy to work. So if you're going to be working out 2 to 3 times a week, you want to be doing a full body workout 2 to 3 times a week. That allows for you to get that frequency of working the muscle 2 or if not 3 times in the week. So that's going to allow for you to have the best chance in order to have hypertrophy effects. Now, I can't really understate how important I think getting a full body workout in as a beginner is. It really comes down to nailing the essentials when it comes to movements, whether it be your presses, your hinges, and so on and so forth, which I promise y'all, we're starting to get into how to really make a program, and I can't wait to actually detail for you all how to actually create a full body workout program. And it's crazy to me that a lot of people will be shocked by, when I say that it's only going to be about 5 to 6 exercises in a workout in order for it to be a full body workout, versus the number of exercises that I see people do in a full body workout and not be able to recover from. So 2 to 3 times a week, and the most effective way to create a training split is full body workouts. When you start becoming a little bit more advanced, you have to start incorporating a new day in order for you to be getting more effects, or you need to try and switch up your plan in some sort of way. So let's just go on with including a new day. So 4 days, there's 2 splits that I've commonly seen for 4 days. So the first one is a upper and a lower day. So on say a Monday, you're doing your upper body stuff. So that's going to incorporate just about everything from chest, back, arms, shoulders. That's pretty much it. So it's going to incorporate all that, and you're going to try and get a good amount of volume in for those days. And then the next day, say it's Tuesday, you're going to be able to do your lower day. You're going to get a rest day in between just so you can allow for some recovery. And then the next day that you come back, you're going to do another upper day and then another lower day. So this works because you allow for the 2 to 3 days of frequency. You're going to get those 2 days of frequency for your chest because you're hitting 2 different upper days. And you're going to get frequency for your legs because you're getting 2 different lower days. Another split that you can do for a 4-day routine is called a push and a pull, which actually pretty much is a full body workout, but our emphasis is on the movements that we're doing, and instead of just imagining as it's just like an upper and lower where we're just doing it in pretty much the half of our bodies, So a push day is going to incorporate every type of movement that you do for a push. So a pushing movement is like something like a squat because you're pushing yourself up from the ground. Something like a bench, something like an overhead press. Most of these are just extension exercises. So the other days are the pull. So for those, you're going to be doing something like a deadlift. So you're going to be having hinges. You're going to be having your bicep curls. You're going to be doing stuff for your back. Most things that you're going to be pulling. So you have your push days and you have your pull days. Your pull days are going to have more of your hamstrings involved and most of your posterior chain versus your push days, which are going to be more on the front side of your body, anterior chain. So let's get into the 5 days now. So 5 days, it's kind of like it's a tougher one to do. You could continue to do like a push-pull and then make it like an emphasis day. Emphasis day is like, you have something that's lagging in your physique and you want to, focus on that maybe for that day. So you could do that, or you could do a bro split. And it's not necessarily the terms that I want to use for it, but that's just what it's called. A bro split is pretty much the bodybuilding routine, and it's not really very effective for beginners because it doesn't allow for you to really master the movements because you're doing a different body part pretty much every single day. So you're going to have a chest day, you're going to have like an arm day, you're going to have a leg day, you're going to have a shoulder day, you're going to have maybe even a day just to do specific things like abs or other stuff. So back as well. So the bro split doesn't really allow for that optimal frequency that we've been talking about for 2 to 3 times a week of working a muscle. Now, I'm not disputing it because there are also research studies that show that if you are doing this type of program, you can equate the amount of volume that you're doing to basically negate the amount of frequency that you would want to be doing 2 to 3 times a week. So basically what I'm saying is that if you're doing enough volume in those workouts, you may not need to work it 2 to 3 times a week. Now, it's not necessarily my preference when talking about, trying to get a beginner to start adhering to exercise by giving them a whole ton of volume, because that is probably going to make them more sore than I like. So that's why, and you're going to need a whole bunch of exercises. Your exercises are going to be probably around like 10 to 12 exercises, and that's a lot for any type of program. So a bro split, while I'm not saying that it's not good, I just don't think it's optimal for beginners' results. So if you're going to do a 5-day routine, I'd recommend probably doing the push-pull and then doing an emphasis day on something that you're lacking. If you're lacking postural problems and you need to work on your posture, make that extra day something where you're working more posture-related exercises. Finally, we're getting into 6 days a week. 6 days a week, and this is what I work out 6 days a week. My program that I have right now is a push, pull, and legs. So on my Mondays, I'm doing a push day. So I'm working mostly on my upper body. Since I have leg day incorporated, my push and my pull aren't going to really be emphasis on any type of lower body. My push day is probably all upper body. My pull day may incorporate some deadlifts, which would be for lower body, but that's probably the only day in which I'm doing pretty much a full body, technically. So on Monday, I'm doing something push related. So I'm working on my bench. I'm working 5 to 6 different exercises that are push related. On the second day, I'm doing a leg day. My leg days are a little different. I do about 4 exercises when it comes to legs, and then I do 2 more exercises on lagging upper body movements. For me, myself, it's my triceps. I try to get more tricep work in so that I can make my arms grow a little bit more, but that's me. So some people may need to work on their biceps, some people may need to work on postural problems, like I said before. And finally, on the last pull day, I'm doing my pull movements and for about 5 to 6 exercises of that. This works, again, because I'm getting the 2 to 3 days of frequency. I'm actually getting the 3 days of frequency when it comes to every single exercise. So it's push, pull, legs, rest, push, pull, legs. So in my week, I'm getting 6 days of exercising, 3 days legs, 3 days push, and 3 days pull. So it's getting that frequency that we were talking about. 7 days a week split. Yeah, there really isn't any, because you're gonna allow for recovery. You have to allow for some type of recovery. As I just said, probably in my last one, was that I said push pull legs rest, push pull legs rest. So you need to allow for yourself to recover. That's probably the most underrated thing when it comes to training and fitness. Is people don't talk about recovery enough, and why it's so important for you, and how it can actually help shoot you up in terms of your results. If you allow yourself to recover a little bit more, you're allowed to be able to hit your exercises a little bit harder next time. So there's no such thing as a 7-day split in my theory. That doesn't mean active recovery can't play in. Doesn't mean you can't go for a run or something like that. But we're just talking about pretty much lifting right now. To sum things up, the most effective training split that I personally see and I personally give out to everyone that I start training with, and as they go on, they start getting different splits. But the first and most important split that I give them is a full body split. It will be able to work your muscles out 2 to 3 times a week, and that is, like we said before, the optimal range for you to be getting muscle hypertrophy. And muscle hypertrophy is going to be a byproduct of any type of program that you put yourself on. So 2 to 3 times a week, full body routines. We're going to get into those and how to do a full body routine very soon. I think in 2 weeks I'm going to do that. Next week we're going to be talking about the different types of training. There's so many different types of training. I'm just talking resistance training right now, but we're going to talk about all the different types of trainings, whether it be HIIT, circuit, resistance, cardiovascular training. There's so many different types of trainings and emphases that you could be putting on your program, and we're going to get into that a little bit more next week. So take home point for the day: full body workouts. If you're a beginner, start with your full body. Don't jump into a bro split, because you're not going to get the optimal results of how often you're supposed to be working a muscle. So thank you all for listening this time. I hope to see you next week. It's going to be a little bit different setting for you all next week, so hope you stay tuned. All right, bye.